All right, next comic come to the stage. He performs all over New York City. Give it for Bill Hartung, everyone.
Hey, hanging in there? That's good, because the next comic is fantastic. But as for me, I'm a little different, from other comics. For one thing, I turned 68 this year. Yeah, I didn't think I'd make it this far either. But, the good news is I don't look a day over 85. And I find, now that I'm older, my taste in music is kind of out of date. I think of new music as anything that came out after 1973. But I'm trying to stay in touch with the modern world, so I'm following Beyonce on Instagram. And it was tough, because I thought she was going to retire before I figured out how to use the app. One person I'm not going to follow is Taylor Swift, because you can't get away from her. She's like everywhere. I have these nightmares where there's like these Taylor Swift lookalikes, and they make me put on bright red lipstick. I have to say, I look pretty good. But, that's just me. I mean, the important thing is she's leading a vast conspiracy to get Biden reelected. And according to Fox News, she was going to do it at the Super Bowl, which didn't happen. But they have a new plan, which is every Trump supporter has to know every word of every Taylor Swift song, or they don't get to vote. So, that's promising. But the other thing about me is I'm getting kind of lazy. For example, when I leave my building, you got to open 3 doors. You got to get out of the elevator, you got to get in the vestibule, you got to go outside. And if somebody's ahead of you holding the door, you have to say thank you 3 times, which is exhausting. So, finally I put my foot down. I said, fuck it. I'm going to say thank you once, when they open the door to the outside. So the first time I tried it, I was in the elevator with my neighbor, Blanche. And Blanche got out first. She opens the elevator door, silence. Then she opens the vestibule door, silence. Then she turns around and looks me in the eye and says, "What the fuck is wrong with you? Didn't your mother teach you any manners?" And so I was going to defend my mother, But, Blanche terrifies me, so I didn't say anything. But, I have a new approach, to cover myself, which is I say thank you the whole time from the elevator to getting outside. So it's just like, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Sort of like that John Batiste song. If you don't know who he is, you're probably out too late. So I do that, and, some people think it's kind of weird, but Blanche loves it, and that's, really all that counts. But, so the other thing that's different about me, other than being too old to be at a new talent show, is I work at a foreign policy think tank. Yeah, that's about the best reaction I ever get. Well, I'm supposed to be promoting world peace. And, you may have noticed that I'm fucking up royally. So, I have to say that there's a lot of things I like about my job, but one thing I hate is taking the train to Washington. I used to like it. I'd sit in the quiet car. It's like a peaceful oasis. Nobody could bother me. If I got a call I didn't want to take, I'd pick it up and say, "I'm in the quiet car." And then I'd hang up, But, now they make an announcement every 5 minutes, which kind of defeats the whole quiet car concept, And they're really aggressive. Like I was on the other day and the guy said, "If you can hear my voice, you're on the goddamn quiet car, so shut the fuck up and enjoy the ride." So much for the quiet car. But, the bigger problem is, I should probably be fired for incompetence. Yeah, let's hear it for incompetence. I realized as long as I sound like I know what I'm talking about, I could probably keep my job. So I was on CNN, and the host said, "Mr. Hartung, what's next for Ukraine?" And I'm thinking, how the fuck should I know? Do I look like a foreign policy expert? And then I was like, oh shit, I'm actually supposed to be a foreign policy expert. So I said, well, Brent, I'm so glad you asked me that question. Because, I think they're either going to hunker down for a long war or they're going to go straight to the negotiating table. Only time will tell. Only time will tell. What kind of bullshit answer is that? But the host actually liked it, so I was okay. But the other problem I have when I go on TV is I don't really look like an expert. There's this concept called the resting face. It's what you look like when you're on camera, you're not saying anything. So my resting face makes it look like I'm about to fall asleep. So the guy, he says, we're joined by William Hartung. And I'm like, so obviously I need to fix that. So I've started using gestures. And, I was on the same show, and he says, we're joined by William Hartung. And I went, which wasn't exactly the look I wanted, but at least I wasn't asleep. So anyway, then they put me on a split screen debating this guy, and he started talking, and I went. Then he said something really silly, so I went. And finally, he went like completely over the top, so I went. And I did that on Fox News once. I was banned for life. Because they have such high standards. So I'm realizing I probably need a new job. And, first I thought, well, maybe I'd be a hedge fund manager. But I don't actually know what that is. And then the Pentagon had this job helping to name wars. I would love that, but I got to convince them I like wars, so I got to go in anger, I got to go in tough, God damn it. And so before I go to the interview, I'm going to call my health insurance company and try to reach a person. Because, that's guaranteed to piss me off. So my first war that I'm going to name is called Operation Excuse Me. Russia's going to invade another country. God damn it. And so I bring a bunch of pushy New Yorkers with me, including my neighbor Blanche, who you may remember. And so the troops approach the border. Blanche goes up and says, "Excuse me, we got here first." And as I've described, you don't want to fuck with Blanche. So, so they turn around and go home. Thank you.